Hello, welcome to Mr. Paul's Pantry. I'm Mr. Paul, and if you're new here, a very, very warm welcome. If you're returning visitors, nice to see you all back again. Now, the recipe today is for a cake. I get lots and lots of people asking about cakes. They have problems making them. They sink in the middle, they're hard on the outside, they're soft on the inside, all sorts of things. But this is a foolproof cake, providing one thing. You follow my directions and recipe. If you change them or deviate from them at all and it fails, don't write to me. Okay? Follow what I show you, read the recipe under the video or on my website carefully and watch the steps in the video, and it's foolproof. It's a cake that's very good for decorating. You can eat it as it is, or you can split it like a Victoria sponge type cake and fill it with either cream or cream and jam or some fruit compote filling, something like that. You can even have it as a sweet or a pudding afterwards with some custard. But it's very, very simple. So I'll show you the ingredients first and then we'll crack on. So here are the ingredients for this butter cake. We're starting off with 230 grams of flour. That's plain flour, by the way. I'm using plain flour. I always add baking powder, but if you're using self-raising flour, then that's okay. But this is plain flour, 230. Don't worry about the quantities. I will be putting the quantities on the screen in a moment, and they'll also be underneath the video when I've finished. So that's the flour. We've got 200 grams of butter, which has to be soft, room temperature, very soft. It doesn't have to be hard. 200 grams of caster sugar, 5 eggs. I'm using large eggs. We want a half a teaspoonful of baking powder. That's not baking soda. They're two different things. Baking powder. 50 mils or 50 grams, I've weighed this, 50 grams of milk. And a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Those are the whole ingredients for this butter cake. Okay, so let's get it put together and see how it goes. Now this recipe calls for a 7-inch square cake tin, which I haven't got. Well, I have, but I can't find it. I mean, I have several, but I can't find them. Unfortunately, when I sold the business, some of the things came home with me, some of the things went with the business, and Pamela has obviously put them away, and since I've lost Pamela in the meantime, I can't ask her. So unfortunately, I haven't got a square cake tin to hand. So what I'm using today is an adjustable cake tin. It's quite an innovation, and I don't know where it came from. I don't know where I bought it because I can't remember. I think it was given to me as a gift, but it comes from a company called Silverwood in Birmingham in the UK. Whether you can buy it on Amazon, I'm not sure, but you will find Silverwood bakeware on the internet. Silverwood bakeware in the UK. Now, I have no interest in this. I make nothing out of it. I'm not advertising the product. I'm just explaining because it looks a strange thing when you see me use it. This is the tin, and you can make various sizes of cakes, and you can cook several cakes of different sizes at the same time if you wish. So if I'm making a square 3-tiered small celebration cake, I can do the base and 2 different sizes to go on top, all at the same time. What happens is, it's got pieces like this, which slot into each other at different various sizes, and you can make them to fit whatever you want. So here, I've made my 7-inch square cake tin that I need. I don't know if you can see that or not. My 7-inch square tin, cake tin, there it is, 7 inches across and 7 inches that way. So, just so you didn't wonder what the hell I was making the cake in when I came to put the mixture into it, okay? So, we'll get on with the mixture and see what happens. So first of all, we're going to put into the mixer the butter, first of all. Now remember, it has to be soft, room temperature. It doesn't work if you try to do this with cold butter. And then we're going to put in the sugar also. And we're going to mix that for quite a long time. First of all, we're going to mix it on slow speed, just to incorporate the two ingredients together. Now this recipe calls for you mixing this butter and sugar together for 15 minutes. It's a long time, 15 minutes. If you haven't got the patience to do that, please either don't make this cake, or if you do and don't follow my directions, do not write to me telling me it's failed. I have no patience with people who change recipes, try to change them, do different things, and then tell me it hasn't worked. This recipe is well worked out, well tried and tested, a recipe I've made for more than 50 years. If you fail with it, you've done something wrong, I can tell you. It's not the recipe. Okay, now we've incorporated that, we're going to turn that to a faster speed now for 15 minutes. I'm just interrupting this for a moment because I forgot to tell you, before you start all this procedure, put your oven on to preheat at 160 centigrade. Now, I don't use a fan. For this cake, it is more successful if you can turn the fan off, turn it off. If you can adjust the heating in the oven as to where the source of the heat, you need top and bottom heat on. Okay? But I don't use the fan, and I never use a fan for baking cakes. So I just forgot to tell you that. So we're going to carry on with the 15 minutes of this mixing. Right, the 15 minutes is up now, and I'm going to just show you. This is how light and fluffy the material should be. You see that? It's almost white. That's how it should look. So we're going to now add the eggs one at a time. Just one at a time. And mix. Just gently mix until all the yellow of that yolk has disappeared. Before we add the next one. Egg number 2. Egg number 3. Number 4. And the last one, number 5. Now we're going to add the flour and the baking powder, which I've sieved together. It's best to do that, and then you make sure that they're nicely mixed together, not going in one lump in one part of the cake. Now, this is the best way to add the dry ingredients to a cake to get the best results. Don't tip it all in, just stir in spoonful at a time until it's incorporated, and then pop in the next one. I'm sorry I can't show you any nearer inside the mixing bowl. I've tried all types of angles with the camera, I can't do it. I will eventually fathom it out, but I haven't fathomed it out yet, so I'm sorry about that. Now, if you're using a mixer which hasn't got one of these, what I call creaming blades, which actually scrapes the bowl as it goes each time it goes round, you will have to scrape the bowl down occasionally with your mixer if you're using a beater similar to this. Okay, now I'll just put the last bit of flour in. And as soon as that's incorporated, we're going to add the milk and the vanilla essence or extract, whichever you're using. Okay? So the milk's going in and the vanilla extract's going in. Everything's in there now. We need to mix it gently like that on slow speed for 5 minutes. I'll come back as soon as the 5 minutes is up. So, this is the 5 minutes is up now, and I want to just show you the consistency so you can understand what it should be looking like. It should be doing that. Okay? It should be just falling off the spoon or spatula like that. Nice and moist. We're going to pop that in the tin now. Don't forget we need a 7-inch square tin, and I hope at this stage you've already got your oven preheated to 160. I'm not using the fan. If you're using a fan oven, you will have to readjust the oven heat because every oven is different, and when you have a fan it runs a little hotter. I don't like cooking cakes with fan ovens. Okay, so we're going to now put the mixture into the cake tin. What I've done is I've lined it with the parchment, and you can just grease your tin if you want, of course. Just make sure you get every bit out. I think these silicone spatulas are absolutely wonderful for getting every last bit out. So there we are. I'm just going to level the top now a little bit, just push it into the corners to make sure it's right down. There we are. And then I'm going to give it a little tap on the bench, just to knock any air bubbles out. Now that's going in the oven at 160 centigrade for 55 to 60 minutes. Do not open the oven door and have a look until it's well after the 50-minute mark. Okay? If you do, it will go down. Remember, we're not using baking powder to raise this. There's a little bit in there, but we're using the 5 eggs that's in there. So that's going to raise it up. That's why we were mixing it longer than you normally would. We're not frightened of knocking the air out of it. If you're making a sponge and you whisk the egg whites and things like that, then you have to try and keep that air in it. But here, we're using 5 eggs in this small amount of mixture to raise it up, okay? So it's going in the oven now for 55 to 60 minutes, and I'll be back shortly. So here's the cake. I've put it on the rack to cool, and I'm just going to remove the parchment that was inside the cake tin. There we are. Popped on the board. Now, let's have a look and see what it's like inside. It's a very nice spongy cake, but not soft. It's spongy, it's firm, and if you're decorating that with icing, etc., then you've got a very firm base to do your decorating on. It won't start collapsing at all. So there we are, a very, very nice butter cake. Well, this is Mr. Paul saying bye for now. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you've any ideas, comments or suggestions, do leave them underneath the video. I do read them all. I try to answer as many as I possibly can. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe, press the subscribe button. It's free, and if you see a little bell icon when you've done that, if you click on the bell, YouTube will tell you every time I put up a new video, so you won't miss one. So it's bye for now, and I'll see you next time.